An alternative to VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP is a combination of two functions, index and match. First, let's take a look at how the index function works. You'll see that there are two rows of arguments below the cell where I'm typing the index function, and the reason for that is that we can use the index function in one dimension across only a row or only a column, or we can use the index function across two dimensions. And in this case, that's what we're going to do because we have a two-dimensional table that has both rows and columns. The first thing that we're going to do is specify the array containing our table, and then we simply pass the function the row number, which we have written here in C7, and then the column number, which we have written here in C8. I'm going to close my parentheses and hit enter. And now Excel is going to, starting from the leftmost cell, the third row, and the second column, and it's returning us BP. Similar to the VLOOKUP function, I can pass it 1 and it'll go to the first row. I can go to the third column of the first row, go to the second row of the third column, and in that way I can move around my table and Excel will find the value that I'm looking for. The match function is a function that's not very useful by itself, but combined with the index function, it becomes very powerful. On its own, the match function looks for a certain value within a one-dimensional array, and then it gives you the location of that value. So in this case, I want to find the energy industry. So my lookup value is going to be energy. I'm going to make a reference to that cell. And my lookup array is going to be the row with my industries. In the third argument, we need to indicate that we want an exact match. So I'm going to type 0 and then hit enter. And now Excel is looking across this row of industries, and it's telling me that it's finding energy in the second position. If I change this to retail, the match function will find it in the first position. If I change it to technology, it'll find it in the third position. So like I said, match isn't super useful on its own, but here's how you can combine it with the index function to create something that's actually even more powerful than VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. I'm going to start with the index function and I'm going to go up and give it my table array. Then for my second argument, my row number is going to be a reference to C15 above. And then my column number, I'm going to use the match function. So I'm going to type match and then open parentheses. The lookup value for my match function is going to be the column that I want, which is the energy industry. And then the lookup array is just going to be the row in my table that contains my industries. I'm going to tell it that I want an exact match. And so what's going to happen here is match is going to look across that row. It's going to find the energy industry in the second position. The match function will return a 2, and then the index function will look in the second column. So now this means instead of having to type the number 2, I can pass the energy industry, or I can pass the technology industry, and index match will go and find the piece of data that I'm looking for. Right now, this is very similar to VLOOKUP.